Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very first edition of Ask Dr. Dansinger. We are featuring Dr. Michael Dansinger, and he is famous for his diabetes reversal program. He has an incredible program over in Massachusetts, and I have a little extra background music here on my computer. Hold on one second. Let me delete that really quick. Hold on. Oh, we'll have to delete all that. And it is coming up on my computer. Hold on. Sorry about this, guys. Technical difficulties that I have to find where it's coming from. It's possessing my computer, and I don't know why. Give me one second. And I cannot figure out where it's coming from. Dr. Danziger, my computer is possessed.
The good news is we cannot hear it.
Oh, you can't hear
only,
it. Oh, well, then that's amazing. Then no one knows why
only
I am freaking out on my end, but I could hear on my computer. That's great if you guys can't hear it. So I'm going to throw to you. I'm going to let you talk about, introduce us to your new series that we're doing, and I'll let you take it from there, and I'll get rid of this extra noise on my side.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Kim. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to launch this inaugural session of Ask Dr. Dansinger. So, I've been a medical doctor for about 30 years, and I'd love to share some of my background and give you a chance to get to know me, gradually over time. And suffice it to say that I have dedicated my career to lifestyle medicine. I trained in primary care internal medicine and did practice primary care in many places throughout the United States when I was a younger man. But for the past, 25 years or so, I've been a New Englander and I've been in the Boston area, and I've really focused my career on helping patients reverse disease. There's a lot of doctors out there who prescribe medications, and these are important medications, but there's not enough doctors out there who help people reduce their medications. We need more doctors out there and healthcare providers who help people reduce their medicines. Nobody wants to be on more medicine than they absolutely need to be. Nobody wants to start medications that aren't truly necessary. They don't fix the underlying cause. They reduce the risk of complications. I've dedicated my career to helping people reverse and prevent diseases, the most common and catastrophic diseases in the United States. Arterial disease, heart disease, strokes, peripheral artery disease, diabetes, obesity, and related conditions. And so everything I've done in my career has been in an area related to weight loss, heart disease prevention, stroke prevention, diabetes reversal, etc. So that's my main background.
It's fantastic. So, how does someone with your background spend their Thanksgiving and guide their patients through the holidays?
Great question. So Thanksgiving, I love Thanksgiving. I've always loved Thanksgiving. And for the past 25 years, I've been having Brooklyn style Thanksgivings with my in-laws who come from there. But I grew up with Minnesota style Thanksgivings. There's a big difference between Minnesota style Thanksgiving and Brooklyn style Thanksgiving when it comes to personalities. In Minnesota, we only one person's allowed to speak at a time, and we go around the table and say what we're thankful for. In a Brooklyn style Thanksgiving, it's a lot more lively. Everyone's talking at the same time. There's three or four conversations going on at once, and nobody's going to let you finish their sentence. They know what you're going to say, and it's a big time waster if only one person's talking. And so I think I like these Brooklyn style Thanksgiving a lot more. But no matter what part of the country you're from, Thanksgiving has a lot to do with food. And I'd like to share some of the strategies that my patients have been using to try to get through Thanksgiving and through the holiday season in general with living their best lives. So how's that sound?
I
So,
think that sounds great. I think we can all use it. I tried really not to overstuff myself, but where we are at Cape Ray Resort in Carlsbad with my dad, myself, my older brother, and his wife, we did a buffet, which was incredible. I just took a little bit of everything. I'm gluten free and dairy free, and so this particular resort and restaurant, Cape Ray, end up catering to us a little bit and make sure that we have the gluten free, dairy free items that we need, and also for my dad for his type 2 diabetes. He was pre, and we ended up reversing it, thanks to a lot of the tips that you put in the book that you and I co-edited together, Food for Thought, on Amazon. And the only thing is, when Jean-Marie, the pastry chef, came out with his special dessert for us, I felt like I needed to finish it, even though I was overstuffed. Probably there is such thing as too much of a good thing, isn't there?
well, yeah, people have different strategies. And, one of the strategies that my patients use, and my patients are usually pretty strict year round, but one of the strategies my patients use on Thanksgiving is to relax and enjoy. So this isn't for everyone, but for some people, they're going to just take a day off on Thanksgiving and they're going to have whatever they want and they're going to relax. And then when the holiday's over, they're going to get back on track. That's a very common strategy. And just like nobody works 7 days a week, throughout the year, and the same reason we have weekends, for some people, the best move is just to take a day off, like a vacation day, and just enjoy and not worry about it. for for some people, they're just that's not going to work for them. For some people, especially with diabetes and those on insulin, if they eat, even taking one day off, if they eat all those starchy foods like the stuffing and the mashed potatoes and the sweet potatoes and the cranberry sauce and all that's, their blood sugar is going to be through the roof, over 500, and it's just not going to work for them. What many of my patients do is what I would call the balance and moderation strategy. So that's what most people do on Thanksgiving. People who are watching their weight and concerned about their health, and they know that Thanksgiving is a time to relax a little bit and enjoy some favorite foods, but not overdo it. And so, what a lot of people will do is they'll have just a little bit of everything. And I mean a little bit. And they'll have a little bit of mashed potato and a little bit of the cranberry sauce and a little bit of the turkey and a little bit of the stuffing and a little piece of pie and a little bit of something else. And they might look back at the end of the meal and say, "Oh, I shouldn't have even eat that much, but I enjoyed Thanksgiving." And for these people, it's very important not to take home a lot of leftovers, or if they're hosting, to give away the leftovers. And so it's all about balance and moderation on Thanksgiving. That I think that's what many of our patients did. Sounds to me like, Kim, is that the camp you were in?
That was the camp. And what I try to do is try to put more protein and vegetables on my plate than anything else, because those, especially the protein, can help fill me up a little bit more so I don't have room for a lot of the stuffing and the yams. And for me, thankfully, I mean, I really cannot have gluten, so I can't have the gravy, I can't have the stuffing, but I could have the yams. So I had a little bit of yams, but over time, I think when you're filling up on more protein and in your diet, along with, piling the vegetables, well, then a lot of the starches don't really fit on the plate. So that's part of my strategy, but I do like a taste of everything.
I will admit that was the approach that I took on my Brooklyn style Thanksgiving the other day. But I'd like to share with you what some of my strictest patients did on Thanksgiving, which when they look back and tell me how they did on Thanksgiving, they're very proud of what they were able to accomplish. So these are people who want to eat healthily through the Thanksgiving meal and
Mhm.
beyond. And so they did a lot of the things that you might have guessed. So first of all, they eat the turkey, but they focus on the white meat rather than the dark meat. The white meat has fewer calories, it's just healthier, less saturated fat, and as long as it's not dried out, they're going to enjoy that turkey breast. Also, they're not going to eat the regular type of stuffing, which is loaded with bread and starch, and it's going to send their blood sugar through the roof. Instead, they're eating stuffings that are more vegetable. So there's onion and carrot and celery and mushrooms, and they might use a little bit of wild rice instead of the bread, and they might use a little bit of water chestnut for crunch. And that is one stuffing that a patient of mine used with the turkey. And another who was on a very low carb diet had a carb free stuffing or a starch free stuffing that was turkey sausage and used a lot of herbs and had that flavor profile. So they enjoyed their stuffing, but just not the traditional kind. And then instead of the mashed potatoes, they're doing mashed cauliflower or mashed turnip, which is much lower in carbohydrate. The roasted vegetables, of course, would be carrots or roast butternut squash, and they're going to have non-starchy vegetables too, like peppers and onions or mushrooms or Brussels sprouts and a nice green salad. And for dessert, a big bowl of fruit salad. So these are how my most health conscious um, patients with diabetes get through Thanksgiving.
It was interesting. One of the members of our group sent me a little recipe. It's so simple. It was their roasted vegetables, mostly carrots, that they ended up roasting, putting them in the oven. And then towards the end, put a little sapjack bourbon barrel aged maple syrup
Mm,
across the top and put it under the broiler for just a few moments. And they were like, oh my gosh, I wanted to eat the entire thing myself, which I would imagine that even with that little bit of maple syrup, that it's still healthier than some of the other options that might be available, like the candied yams.
a million times, yes. Right.
Yay, there's a win. But I do like the idea of the mashed cauliflower and the mashed turnips. People do have to realize, and not to be graphic, but this is the truth, that you do have to realize that you will spend a little more time in the facilities the next couple days following that if you eat a lot of it as well. So just something to be aware of and to realize that it is normal.
Mm, that's right. Um, do we have questions from the audience yet at this point? Otherwise, we
We
can
do.
launch into, okay, how to handle the holidays.
Yes, we have Janet. Janet, go ahead and unmute and ask Dr. Dancing your question.
Hi, doctor. I was diagnosed with PAD about May, I think, this year, and I went right through the um, the doctors and to the stage where I was supposed to have angioplasty, and that was cancelled. But I'm still going back to the vascular surgeon. But my question is, in that time, I lost 5 kgs, but I've been trying to put on a bit, you know, some of the weight, but I've stabilized at 50 kgs. So, is there some way that I can put on a bit more weight?
Okay, great question. I think what you're saying is you have peripheral arterial disease, you're working with the surgeons, and your weight is 50 kilograms, which equates to, I think, about 110 pounds or 120 pounds.
Yeah.
And you want to see if you can gain a little weight. And
Yes.
so it would be really nice if you could put on, you want your bones and your muscles to be strong. And so
Yeah.
when people who consider themselves a little bit underweight, what we're looking for is to put on strength in the muscles and the bones rather than additional fat, especially abdominal fat. And so the way to put on extra weight, the healthiest is through a combination of dietary protein plus weight bearing exercise, which is easier said than done. But it's the way to gain weight isn't milkshakes or McDonald's or that sort of thing, as most people can imagine. But it's tricky to up the protein and the weight bearing exercise. But that's the way to do it, even if it's you know fairly light weights at first, and but it's very important to keep the bones and the muscles as strong and healthy as you can. So those are my first thoughts about how to do that. Some people
Thank
even
you.
eat protein shakes, um, low fat dairy, um, poultry, egg whites, um, fish, of course, and shellfish, and vegetarian sources of protein, including beans, are all good. And then there's lean red meat as well. So all those, I think, are good protein options.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Janet. We appreciate you, and it's nice when people we hear this all the time because who have or are diagnosed with PAD are told to go walk, 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 change their diet, eat healthier, so they're consuming more calories, they're working out more, and they're losing more weight than they need to. And so it is really good to understand how to balance and just maintain. And so those are really good suggestions. And what about over the holidays? How do you maintain over the holidays and going into, all the Christmas parties, all the different holiday festivities that are coming up?
Yeah, great question. Great point. So,
Appetizers are so good. I love the appetizers.
most people who have PAD or vascular disease or heart disease or a stroke, or diabetes are trying to lose excess fat, not gain it. And so, getting through the holidays, is weight gain season for many people, and weight loss season starts after New Year. And so many people put on 5 or 10 pounds during the holiday season, and then they work hard during January and February to take that weight off, and they don't break even until March. Well, you don't want to get into that. You want to get through the holiday season without any weight gain. For many people, if they can just break even and not gain any weight through the holidays, that's a pretty good victory right there. There's not that many people who are actually losing weight and reducing abdominal fat through the holidays, but if you can do it, more power to you. That's amazing. Many people have holiday parties, and some people have two a week all through December, and it's a big problem, especially if they're traveling to see family or staying with family and you're out of your home environment. That's a potential recipe for disaster. So how do you get through all that? Well, there's no easy answers. So, you need to keep your eye on the prize. You can't turn a blind eye and act like you can eat whatever. Many people make the mistake of just getting, not worrying about it until January. And it's not what I'd recommend at all. And so you want to cut your losses at every opportunity, and you have to use willpower. And you need to put yourself in the position where you don't need to rely on willpower all the time. So if you fill up on the healthy foods, lean proteins, and healthy fruits and vegetables, that is your best protection against overeating through the holidays. You got to take the time to prepare healthy meals. If you're at a restaurant, you need to order the salad with chicken or the fish and vegetables, and not get what you and not if you're tempted by all the unhealthy options on the menu, you you can't you can't do that. Save it for the one special meal with the family, but through the holidays it's not a 30-day eating frenzy.
One of the things that my family does is, you say load up on the healthy stuff. And so we make a little compromise because for my dad, especially who has cardiovascular disease, it's tough to, you have the chips with that onion dip and oh my gosh. So we make a compromise with them. Like, okay, don't eat the chips, but you eat the onion dip. And we're just going to load your plate with broccoli and tomatoes and carrots and celery and radishes and all of the above. And that then you can have the onion dip along with it. And I don't care, lather it, do what you want, but at least you're having a whole plate of vegetables, versus dipping the chips in the onion dip. So maybe there are compromises that people can make and do a little indulgence, but it's not the entire gamut of just
Right.
indulging with everything.
Many holiday parties do have a whole um, range, a whole spectrum of healthy and unhealthy foods to choose from. And I was just speaking with a patient an hour ago about how he's always looking for the shrimp cocktail if he's at a holiday party, if they have that, or maybe the deviled eggs, or maybe it's the vegetable platter. So there's often options. Otherwise, some people bring their own. And
But there are options that are better than others. I mean, usually those deviled eggs are filled with a lot of mayonnaise, but some of them are actually filled with Dijon mustard versus a whole
yeah,
bunch of mayonnaise. There's usually a little mayo in there, but it's good protein even still. It's much better than having those, whatever wrapped in bread and just we try to stay away from bread as much as we can over the holidays. I know there are a lot of different types of bread and the bread and the butter and the bruschetta and everything else, but do you agree that trying to stay away from bread, it's one of those unnecessary foods that just is a filler, and it's better to instead put on your plate protein versus the breads?
yeah, 100%. So the two, what I'm especially concerned about through the holidays and throughout the year in general are refined sugars and starches. So all of those Thanksgiving side dishes, starchy side dishes we mentioned are trouble. And um, bread. Yes, I'm very concerned about bread and other starches because they turn to sugar in the body. The body turns starch into sugar, and for many people with weight, the all that sugar and starch fuels hunger and appetite by spiking the blood sugar up, and then when the blood sugar
Mhm.
falls, appetite and hunger kick in. The other thing I'm really concerned about is animal fat. So too much animal fat in the proteins is a problem, and so for many people, fatty meats or high fat cheeses are loaded with calories, and that animal fat, that saturated fat, clogs the arteries. No question about it. It does that by raising the LDL bad cholesterol level in the body. And so, for most people, in most eating strategies, animal fat from meat and dairy is another concern.
So really just if you're eating, because you are a proponent of eating animal protein, there are a lot of diets that they say, like the Esalen diet or the Dean Ornish diet, that they claim reverses cardiovascular disease. They tell you to stay away from all meats altogether. But most of the doctors that I talk to, and including yourself, you're more of a proponent of the Mediterranean diet and choosing the lean meats. Just don't eat the marbled meats. Don't eat the fat around the edges of the meats. Try
Right.
not to eat the skin.
So, yes, I am in favor of animal protein, lean animal proteins, poultry, especially from fish and shellfish, egg whites, poultry breast, and lean red meat. Now, I don't want to take away from the very low fat vegetarian diets. Those are good, and those are good for reversing artery disease as well. But I have found it's very difficult for people who have been eating meat for all of their lives to give it up. And so, for those who can and who are ready, they'll be eating a lot of whole grains and a lot of beans and no animal products. That can work very well for helping to clean the arteries, but it's not the only way. There's no one best for everyone. And for
Mhm.
most people, they're going to be eating animal protein and they need to know how to do it in a way that is going to help reverse their disease. And so that's where animal fat becomes very important.
What was interesting is last night after having the big Thanksgiving meal, we've been eating less and less throughout the week. And last night we went to a restaurant. It was a fish restaurant, and there are a lot of places where you have a combined fish market and restaurant. And this place in particular, down here in Southern California, had a monkfish, and all their fish is just served on a mesquite grill. There's nothing special about it. They just put it on a mesquite grill and they serve it with a little bit of drawn butter or a tartar sauce and fresh broccoli. And it was really, really good. You didn't even need the butter. It just had such a nice flavor and they cooked it perfectly. And so now I'm feeling pretty good about my week.
My mouth is watering right now. So we've only got a couple minutes left, and I've prepared a poem, a 2-minute
I
poem
love
that
it.
I'd love to recite for you and the viewing audience, if that's all right with you, Kim.
I would. I just had one comment come in from Marcia. I wanted to read. She said she tried going vegetarian, but her body craved more protein because she was hiking so much.
Yeah.
And do you find that's the truth with a lot of people
Yeah,
when
a
they're
lot of,
doing a lot of working out?
so yes. So when exercising, the body is craving protein, and that protein can come from a vegetarian source or it can come from animal sources. And so um, people have options, and there's many vegetarian and animal protein options. So yes, for most people who are exercising, they're going to want some animal protein for sure.
Okay, I think we're ready for your poem to close it out. But just to let people know, make sure you like the channels. Make sure you like Dr. Dansinger's channel. Make sure you like the Way to My Heart's channel, depending on where you're watching this right now. It's really important. Like, subscribe to the channel. Dr. Dansinger is going to be doing these weekly. Are we on for next week as well, Dr. Dansinger? Same bat time, same bat channel?
Yeah, we're on.
Yes, this is exciting. So make sure you come back because diet is such a huge part of reversing or stalling progression of vascular diseases. And diabetes is one of those vascular diseases. So if you have questions and you want to meet every week to help hold you accountable to your diet and make sure you're on track, go ahead and join us every Monday. We're just going to be doing it for 30 minutes every single Monday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm not sure, I think that would be 8 p.m. in the UK. So I think it's a good fit for everyone to join us. And with that, Dr. Danzinger, I'll let you close things out with your poem.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kim. So this poem was inspired by the holidays and the colors red and green, which are the Christmas colors, which remind me of all the red and green fruits and vegetables that have all these artery healing properties. So here we go. This is called A Holiday Feast for Heart and Health. As the holiday season draws near with delight, let's celebrate health and keep hearts bright. Red and green food, so festive and bright, are gifts for our arteries, shining with light. Red peppers, so sweet, like a holiday treat, full of vitamin C, making hearts beat. They clear up the plaque that can block our way, helping blood flow night and day. Tomatoes, so juicy, so ripe and red, packed with lycopene, a heart's best friend. They protect against blockages, keeping veins clear, bringing joy to your heart year after year. Carrots so crunchy and orange and gold with beta carotene, they never grow old. Reducing inflammation, keeping hearts strong, they help arteries stay healthy all season long. Spinach and kale in shades of deep green, full of iron to keep your heart lean. They fight off the risks that can clog and decay, ensuring your arteries stay clear every day. Brussels sprouts, so small and so sweet, with vitamin K, they're the holiday treat. They help lower blood pressure and keep hearts light, aiding in health throughout the night. Berries so red like a Christmas cheer, packed with antioxidants, keeping hearts clear. They fight cholesterol, they clean the way, bringing health and joy to each holiday. So let's celebrate this holiday season with glee. Red and green foods as healthy as can be. They nourish our arteries, keeping them free, a gift of good health.